Right now, you're listening to the Scary Vibes podcast. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
And my name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Tonight, we're on episode 37, and we have a lot lined up for everybody. We have crazy events that happen on horror movie sets, and then we also have an update in the Slender Man case.
Literally breaking news.
Before we get into all of that, Abraham, how have you been?
I've kind of just been continuing on my hibernation. I guess that's what kind of happens around this time of year, right? As it starts to, it gets darker outside, it gets colder outside. And I don't know, man, my energy, if I don't have to go out anywhere, I try not to. If I'm not out working and all that other stuff, man, on the weekends, I come home and my body, I'm just like so tired. So I kind of just want to sleep. And that's what I've been doing, is just kind of catching up on sleep, because for whatever reason, this last week, I've only been getting like a little over 2 hours of sleep a night.
Because has anything been on your mind, or have you been being visited, or?
No, not anything out of the ordinary. A couple things like some sounds and stuff would happen, but other than that, I haven't really had any encounters or anything like that. At least not anything worth noting.
Yeah.
But I've just been really tired, dude. Like the courier business, when it comes to medical courier, in the wintertime, it gets kind of tiresome. I did have a crazy situation happen to me
Ooh.
this week, and I do remember I tried calling you immediately afterwards, like for support, but you like sent me to voicemail. So I had a medication delivery out in Gary, Indiana, which I never really have any problems there, because we're from Chicago, and Gary is basically like, I don't know, I would compare it to like a neighborhood in Chicago. So like, I mean, it's a lot of people think that it's pretty dangerous. I really don't think it's that dangerous. At least I didn't think so until this situation. So it's about, I don't know, maybe about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, something like that. It was really dark, because now we're at, towards the end of November. So daylight savings and everything gets really, really dark. So I walk up to the door and I knock on the door. It's this, regular house or whatever. And I knock on the door and nobody's answering. So I'm like going through my phone to try to find the contact information for this house for the patient. And I knock a little bit harder just in case they didn't hear me. And next thing I know, I hear this voice, this female voice come through. And she's like, "Who is it?" And I was like, "Oh, pharmacy delivery, ma'am. I have a medication delivery for, this person's name." So I said their name. And she's like, "What?" And so I repeated myself again. I said, "I have a pharmacy delivery, ma'am, for this person's name." And she's like, "I don't know who the F you're talking about." Right? And I was like, okay. So I repeated the address. I said, "Is this X, Y, and Z Avenue?" And she's like, "Yeah." Just really aggro. And I said, "Okay." I was like, "Well, there's a patient who gave this address. I'm trying to make this delivery." So she tells me, "You better back away from my door before you get your shit shot." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "I said, back away from my door before I shoot your big ass." And I was like, "Whoa." I said, "Ma'am, I'm just trying to deliver some medication here. Like, I'm sorry for, whatever." And she's like, "I don't know nothing about that." She starts yelling and screaming. And I'm like, okay. So I start to back up a little bit. And then I hear the door unlock.
Yeah.
And so now I'm starting to get nervous, because I'm like, am I going to have to do like a judo dive, like into the bushes or some shit, like to try to dodge this woman who probably has a gun or whatever. So like the door opens and there's this like younger man there, and she's like, "Don't you open that fucking door." And the dude, he opens the door and I see him, and I was like, "Hi, I have, medication delivery." He's like, "Yeah, that's me." So she's yelling at him and she's telling him not to open the door, but I can see him through the screen, you know?
Yeah.
And so he goes, "Hold on a second. I'll come out through the garage." So I'm like, okay. So the woman starts screaming at him. She's like, you ain't gonna do shit. You're not gonna go through the garage. I'm about to call the cops to get your ass out of here too. So I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. Are we dealing with like a dementia, you're right? Like a dementia situation here? Or are we dealing with just a really angry person?
Right.
You know? And so I I just waited this kid, he had to be like maybe, I don't know, 18 years old, something like that. He comes out and he's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry." She's like, "You ain't gotta apologize to his bitch ass." Like, bro, I'm like, "Whoa, what? Where is all this aggression coming from?" I'm still
Bro, I
here.
got your medicine. Yeah, like
I'm saying, so like she's just yelling and screaming, and I'm just like, "Bro." He's like, "I'm really sorry." I'm like, "Nah, it's all good, man. Like, I've dealt with elderly patients that have been pretty disrespectful in the past." I guess after I made the delivery, she was like, I was like, "Have a good night," and she's like, she sort of apologized. It was kind of like a half-ass apology, but she was like, "There's a lot of stuff that's happened in this neighborhood." I'm like, "Okay, but you see me here and I'm holding a bag, has medication in it, so I mean, I'm not trying to rob you."
He
You know what I'm
definitely
saying?
he definitely handled it pretty professional. I don't know what I would have did. I probably would have just left. I would have called my boss and been like, "You deliver this. I am not getting shot."
Right.
But the fact that you stood your ground and delivered it, I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm
I
mad at
mean,
you or if I'm,
I've
like
been in way scarier situations than that, so I can't really say
still.
that really that scared, but still. Have you ever heard of Herscher, Illinois?
I think I've heard you talk about it a few times.
So
Damn.
yeah, I was out there, dude, and in order to get to Herscher, you have to drive down like all these dirt roads, and it's kind of scary. Honestly, dude, it's kind of scary because all you see is whatever your light touches, right? And because I was out there kind of late, these dirt roads were empty. Like every once in a while, I'll come across, another pair of headlights that are coming from the opposite direction. But other than that, it's pitch black, bro. It's pitch black, and all I can see is just that little stretch of road that's in front of me. I look in my rear view, can't see anything, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, yo, if there was ever a time that I could run into a cryptid, like the dog man or something like that, like this is it, because I'm in these places, I'm by myself. Like, this is definitely the setting, you know? It's
Yeah.
definitely the type of setting for some crazy story to happen. And nothing too crazy happened. I was able to make it to the place. It was an assisted living facility, and I was able to make the delivery. But then, like, on the way home, I hit this area again. It was like in this just back road,
Hmm.
bro. Something ended up happening, and it started messing with the electronics in my truck. Like, I started noticing that the radio started to cut out. My GPS, I have a big screen in my truck, and
Yeah.
that kind of like cut out, right? And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then my windshield wipers, dude, it was starting to rain, and my windshield wipers started to not work. So I was like, what the hell, dude? This is scary. Like, I'm driving home. I'm still like almost 2 hours outside of Chicago, right? And I'm on my way home. It's like starting to rain. Dude, once I jump on the highway, I need to have my windshield wipers, right? And I'm just freaking out thinking like, okay, if these things stop working and I'm on the highway, I'm gonna have to try to pull over to the side of the road or something. Like, and it's late at night. It's not like I can actually stop somewhere and have it fixed.
Yeah.
But like, the weird thing is like, it was weird because it was like the motor was going out because they were like, how do I explain it? So like, the windshield wipers they would go up really enthusiastically, but then when they were coming back down, they were coming down really slow, you know?
Yeah.
And they would go up and then they would come back really slow. So I'm like, yo, what the hell, dude? Like, this is weird. So once I got back onto the highway, it started to rain a little bit, and I turned on my windshield wipers to see if they worked, and they worked fine.
Hmm.
So I'm like, what is going on? It was, dude. I'm telling you, I'm being out in these country roads and whatever. There's something weird going on out there because I feel like every single time I go out to these places, there's always some kind of weird situation that ends up happening.
Well, if it was a one-time thing, I would say, man, maybe you need a new alternator. But the fact that it happens almost periodically, like a couple
Hmm.
times a month, I
Hmm.
mean, I wonder if just your energy of like not wanting to take this drive is just like putting energy out and it's just messing with you. Or maybe, like you said, you're on the back road, so you're just like picking up on like spirits or something that are just drawing energy from you and from your vehicle.
I mean, it could be possible just because, like, I'll be driving out in the middle of nowhere, not with anybody else around, and then all of a sudden I'll get hit with this weird anxiety, you know?
Dude, I remember this time. It's definitely not horror related, but it's kind of a funny story. So I ended up wanting to get a dog,
Uh
and this was a while back. And I found a dog on Craigslist,
Okay.
and it should have been a red flag right there. They were giving away the dog for free. They were like, this dog is perfectly trained. This dog is awesome. I'm like, I'm gonna get this dog.
Okay.
So I literally drive out to the middle of somewhere like you go, 2 hours away from Chicago, and it's starting to get dark around this time, and there is
Mhm.
no street lights, no nothing. I remember meeting the person at a CC's Pizza, like out in the middle of nowhere, and then I got the dog, and I was like, "Oh my god, thank you!" And the dog either jumped in the back, I put in the back seat, but then it just got into the front seat, or I put in the front seat. But I'm
Okay.
driving, and it's like one of these roads that you're explaining where you could literally only see maybe, 20 feet ahead of you. You don't know if the road is gonna bend. You don't know if it's gonna do this or that. But
Uh-huh.
this dog, it's a mutt. This dog is a straight mutt, wiry hair. It looks like something that just rolled out of the bed or Pet Cemetery.
Uh-huh.
It's There's no cage, there's no nothing. And I'm literally on the road with this dog for like 2 hours, and it's like trying to jump on my lap, it's trying to bite me, it's like growling. And I remember that was probably one of the most scariest drives because I'm literally trying to focus on the road. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know when the road's gonna bend. I don't know anything. And I'm also trying to babysit this dog that I know nothing about that is just a psycho dog.
So wait, was this a puppy?
Um I mean, it was probably like within a year old, so yeah, it's still considered a puppy in my eyes. At the time, I was with my ex, and she had her daughter, and I had my daughter, and this dog kept like jumping and scratching my stepdaughter at the time,
Uh-huh.
and basically just got out of control. And I ended up contacting the person like
Uh-huh.
within like a couple days, and they actually took the dog back because it was just this dog wasn't able to like be kept, and
Uh-huh.
the apartment we were in just it was just like it was a bad idea. But
Right. I got
the dog went back with its owner. It got a good little vacation. We washed it and we fed it. The kids got to play with it when they weren't being attacked by it.
you.
Um, but it just reminded me of that crazy road, and then just being with this weird dog that was just looked like he rolled out of a dumpster.
Dude, I mean, what kind of dog was it?
Bro, I don't know. It wasn't one of like when you see like a mutt dog that like
Yeah.
that just like tears shit up. This is what that dog was.
Oh, wow.
So have you watched anything scary lately?
Not really anything worth mentioning except for I just finished watching the latest episode of Welcome to Derry, which is episode 5, and I'm not going to give anything away at all. But if anybody hasn't started watching this series yet, start to watch it, man. I'm actually really starting to enjoy it because it's going back and it's showing you like Pennywise's origin,
Yeah.
which for anybody who hasn't really read the book, um, they do go, very into detail about where Pennywise comes from, where he originates, stuff like that. And it's been pretty interesting to be able to, go on this journey with this new cast of kids, which is completely different from what you're used to, right? Like we grew up with the original Stephen King's It, The Losers Club. And now you're following just a whole different cast, different kids in a different time period. But I'm really enjoying it. And so far I really haven't heard any big complaints. Um
Yeah, most
aside
people are liking it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
watched the first episode. Where I'm at with it all is I'm gonna let there get a couple more episodes, and then I'm just gonna binge watch it because
Hmm.
I've seen a lot of little snips and clips here and there, and there's a lot of creepy scenes.
Yeah, man. It's definitely it's living up to the hype. I should say that. Because I remember
That's good.
years ago when they had made the announcement that they were going to work on a series, you always, run the risk of, okay, is it going to be a good series, or is this something that's basically just going to be all hype, and then you're going to see it and it's just horrible. But so far, man, so far 5 episodes in, and I already can't wait to see the next episode. You know?
Yeah, because it's been probably what, like 4 or 5 years since when they originally announced it.
Yeah. So what the first one came out in what, 2017? I believe the remake
Yeah, I
came
believe
out
so
in like
too.
2017 by Andy Muschietti, and I love the fact that this series pulls no punches at all, man. It's like they put the same level of work that they put into doing those two remake movies. It's like they keep it up with this series. And I don't know. Every week, I'm just pleasantly surprised at the things that they end up revealing. But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I've been enjoying it so far. Yeah, I've watched like some other like kind of D-list movies. Nothing really worth mentioning, to tell you the truth. But other than that, yeah. I mean, how about you, man? What's going on with you? Because I know that uh, you were off this
Yeah,
Friday,
so
right? You went on an adventure.
yeah, so I'm on vacation
Mm-hmm.
for, next week is Thanksgiving. So I don't know what I was doing Thursday night. I know I did talk to you after the lady pulled the gun on you, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wasn't able to talk to you when you were having those issues with electronics. So one, I'm sorry, but next next time I'll try to get back to you. But I think I know Friday, right after school, I took my daughter. We hopped on the train and we went downtown to see the Christmas tree.
Awesome. How was
So
that?
so that was an adventure. So I mean, we take the train downtown. We get down there about 5:30, and we're walking. We get there. As soon as we get to Millennium Park,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually doing security checks. They're checking bags, metal detectors. So there is a giant line. Kind of reminded me of the scene of Titanic, and it's because literally everybody's like pushing to get like just get through to get into the line to the
Mm-hmm.
metal detectors. And I'm with my daughter, and honestly, there wasn't, at least when I was in that point of the line, there wasn't a lot of kids, and I was just like, bro, what the fuck? Why is everybody like? So like, I'm hugging her, and I'm like, fucking like pressing people to get
Mm-hmm.
off of me, and she starts to like kind of freak out. I look down at her, I'm like, yo, did somebody touch you? Like, are you good? And she's like, no, nobody touched me. You know, I'm just overwhelmed. Like, there's so many people,
Mm-hmm.
and the Chicago like CPD he ended up seeing, and he's like, "You have a kid?" I was like, "I got a kid." It was like, like in Titanic. I was like, "I got a kid."
I have
They're
a
like
child.
they're like, "He has a kid. Let him through. Let him through." So they started pushing me through the line. Started pushing me through the line.
Bro.
And so we ended up getting to like the metal detectors, and I was like calming her down. We ended up having a really good time. We saw the tree get lit up. There was fireworks. We ended up getting out of there pretty soon after. We did get some pizza at a
Okay.
spot like on the way back to the train. But I ended up seeing on the news that I guess there was some like riots and stuff that broke out. I think it was with
Yeah.
teenagers.
There's a
So,
shooting. There's a shooting. Like 5 or 6 people got shot.
bro. So
Dude,
yeah,
so
I'm glad
it
I
sounds
didn't
like you
stick
made it out
around.
of there. Sounds like you made it out of there right when you were supposed to.
Exactly. So we had fun with that. And then yesterday we were kind of just hanging out. Me and my daughter, she downloaded Fortnite on her tablet and we've been playing together,
Nice.
so that's been kind of fun. But I did get a chance to watch something that I thought was kind of creepy. So I was on Prime after I was watching some football.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that on Discovery Plus it said the Friday the 13th murderer, and I was like, "Wait, what?" But it was like a little like 1 hour series that they have on there, and
Mm-hmm.
they were covering a guy that actually went on a murder spree on Friday the 13th back in
Damn.
1990. I thought it was kind of interesting that I never even knew this guy existed. There's so many like little murderers out there.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this guy. Okay.
You hate him, huh? Right off the bat.
Yeah, this guy what the fuck was his name?
Wasn't Jason Voorhees by chance, was it?
No, it wasn't Jason Voorhees. David Milner. Okay.
Yes.
Uh he's 17 years old and for okay, this is the type of character this guy is, okay. One, when his girlfriend broke up with him, he tried like jumping off the water tower in his neighborhood, but he didn't do it. And then a year later he drove off a cliff and he didn't die. He's off his rocker. He's big into horror movies, obviously, since he went on his spree on Friday the 13th.
Okay.
So, okay, so basically it starts off with him inviting this kid, Frankie Garcia, to a barn out in their neighborhood
Okay.
where he had a pentagram like in the sand inside of this barn
Mm-hmm.
where he ended up executing this kid.
Oh no.
So then after that, this kid he ends up attacking uh his stepfather's ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend, Jimmy Britton. He ends up like showing up at his house with a razor and he attacks him, but he ends up like getting overpowered and like thrown out. So then at this point, this guy he ends up calling the police and he identifies him. And when they
Mm-hmm.
identify him, they end up going to this kid's house and they find his bedroom and he has like all these horror masks and that he's creating like himself and posters and they actually find a hit list, a list of people that he plans on killing that night.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're on a manhunt. He ends up going to his principal's doorway and he's like banging on the door at like 3 a.m. And the principal notices him and he's like, "Bro, I'm not going to open the door." But he ends up shooting through the door. He ends up shooting the principal 2 times in the leg and stomach.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And he ends up living, though. He ends up living.
Okay.
So then basically the manhunt continues and they end up catching him and he puts a gun to his head like he's going to, kill himself
Okay.
after being caught by the police, but I guess because he forgot the words to the ritual that he was trying to perform that night, he didn't want to do it. So they arrested him and they gave him like 3 life sentences.
Okay, wait. So he basically wanted to carry out some kind of a ritual that would have resulted in him like dying,
That's what I'm
or
guessing. Yeah, they definitely said that he was into some satanic ritual.
uh-huh.
That's kind of where it began with that first kid in the pentagram, and then he planned on killing everybody on his list, but he kept
Uh-huh.
failing.
Oh
And
wow.
then when it came down to him, ending his own life, he ended up forgetting the words to the ritual, and they
Oh
ended up
wow.
arresting him. And he wanted the death penalty, but they wouldn't give it to him.
So you're telling me that right now this kid is locked up somewhere. Well, he's not even a kid anymore, I would assume, right? Because this was back in 1990.
Yeah.
So wow.
It was an interesting story. I don't, it did happen on Friday the 13th. It's kind of along the lines of, somebody who's like probably too into scary movies and they
Mm-hmm.
just take it too far. But like I had said in the beginning, like this kid, something's definitely off with him.
Absolutely,
Like
dude.
he kept having like these mini episodes where he was gonna like try to hurt himself, um, and then he ends up eventually taking out on others. Um, it's a crazy little story. It's on Discovery Plus. It's only an hour long.
Hmm.
There's a lot more episodes after it, but I thought it was interesting. It did catch my eye because Friday the 13th, I was like, oh, I didn't know there was an actual killer that like went crazy on that day.
Right. I was assuming that you probably like saw it and automatically thought that it had something to do with, or like was probably loosely based on like the actual movie and stuff like that. But then upon watching it, it's like, what the hell? It had nothing to do with that.
He only had one victim, so it wasn't like he was like some type of serial killer or something like that. But
Right, right. Well, you know what though? But thank goodness for that, right? Like he only had one victim. I mean, and it wasn't for lack of trying. He was trying to, he was trying to hurt and kill other people. But thank goodness that he was unsuccessful. I
yeah,
just don't understand what goes through some of these people's heads, and maybe it's because they want to be able to. Maybe it's because they want to be able to put a lot of suffering out there, right? Like maybe they want people to mourn and to just they want to do these heinous things so that they can kind of solidify their place in history,
yeah,
and
no,
be
I
remembered. And unfortunately, I think that this guy's going to be remembered as like one of the most poorly executed plans of a serial killer, maybe.
yeah, I definitely I get what you're saying because yeah, it seems like people are just doing it for the notoriety. I want to like be the next Ted Bundy or Charles Manson,
Right.
and they get this idea in their head, and it's just sick.
Yeah, man, it's really sad to think about, and the fact that like he basically got his heart broken, right? Because this all started because his girlfriend broke up with him.
Yeah,
And I can't help but think, like, yo, honestly, all of this could be avoided if he would have just like went to therapy. It could have been avoided, right? There's a
yeah,
chance that maybe if he would have talked to somebody or would have had like some better peers around him or better support system or something like that, man. Because I mean, let's be honest, heartbreak happens all the time, right? Heartbreak happens every single day, and obviously there aren't people that are just lining up to like kill other people and whatever. And there have to be a specific like a specific type of factors that all line up in order to create this monstrous individual, right? Like maybe just a series of unfortunate events that happen. To quote the Joker from DC Comics, all it takes is one bad day, right? Like all it
yeah,
takes is one bad day to make a person focus on all the most negative things. And I think we've all been guilty of that in some way, shape, or form. I know I have, dude. And that's why I'm like incredibly lucky because of the support system that I have. Like, dude, whenever there's something that's like really bothering me, you're like one of the first people that I call.
yeah.
And I'm like
Likewise.
super angry or whatever. I'm super upset, and then you always get me cracking up, and or offering up like a different perspective on things and whatever. And I mean, there's been some times, man, when I've gotten really, really angry, and I've kind of scared myself with how angry I've gotten over specific situations. And the sad part is that some of these people that you hear in these situations, if things would have been just a little bit different, you think about how the outcome, how it could have been different, and they could have had a more positive outcome if they would have had some people that would have just sat down, taken the time to actually listen to them, take them out, have pizza or something like that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
like you said, like heartbreak is one of those things that it kind of hurts,
Hmm.
and it's like feelings that you don't know how to handle sometimes. Sometimes
Yeah.
it definitely overwhelms you, and you don't get in the right mind space. So
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, heartbreak comes with the territory, right? It just comes with life in general. in some way, shape, or form, you are going to get your heart broken, whether it's in a romantic situation, whether it's in a friendship situation. You could lose your dog or something. Your dog could get hit by a car and that breaks your heart. I mean, hurt is a part of life. Experiencing pain, loss, all that kind of stuff is a part of life, and it's all in how we handle it. That is what is going to determine whether or not we can become stronger people as a result of it, right? Because I know that in the last few years, man, I feel like I've lost a lot of people in my
Hmm.
life, right? I've lost, a job. There's just been a lot of stuff that's come up, and it's really easy to be able to want to like throw in the towel and start to drink and do all this other stuff. But like I said, fortunately for me, I have a good support system, and that is my hope for everybody out there that is going through a difficult situation or having a difficult time, especially coming up on, the holidays are the worst, right? Like seasonal depression is a real thing.
Yeah,
People will, it gets colder outside, so people are just kind of locked indoors, not really able to get out as much as they can, not really able to burn as much endorphins and, start to feel good about themselves and whatever. So they start to dwell on the things that they don't have. And I remember when I worked in public safety, man, that was the busiest time for us, right? Like in terms of when it came to cases of self-harm, suicidal ideation, things of that nature. There's just a lot of people talking about, they kind of got in their own feelings and going through breakups and being lonely during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Because, there's always those like tradition, like on New Year's, you're supposed to kiss the person like right at midnight that you want to be with for the rest of the year or whatever. And there's
yeah.
always like these little rituals that people do, and there's some people that put so much emphasis on that kind of stuff, and they just, like Valentine's Day, right? Like people start getting really sad because of that stuff. It's like, bro, I used to get sad, and then I just got me a heart-shaped pizza every year. You know what I'm saying?
For some heart-shaped tacos,
I have some heart-shaped tacos.
bro. You know what
Exactly,
I,
dude.
dude? You know what I seen on freaking online today?
What's up?
Gingerbread tortas.
Huh?
They're giant gingerbread shaped tortas.
You know what, dude? I don't know how I feel about that. Like,
Well, I don't think it tastes any different. I think they're
I
just
would hope not.
tortas, just giant. They're like the size of your head in the
Uh huh.
shape of a gingerbread man.
Okay, where is this? We may have to check this out. We may actually have to check this out,
I was like telling somebody today, I was like, this is why I'll never have a six pack because
man.
something about
Exactly.
Chicago, they're just always coming out with these just fire ass freaking meals and
Yeah.
ugh.
I don't care what anybody says, man. We have the best food. Chicago, any type of food that you're looking for, man, anywhere in the world, you can find it here. And that's the beautiful part of having so many people so many different people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities. It's awesome that we have somewhere in the city you will be able to find whatever it is that you're looking for, right? In terms of food, in terms of culture, anything like that. You gotta love it.
Exactly.
I love
So
Chicago.
so I'm curious about, this guy that I just explained about. I'm curious on where his ears are. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because earlier this week you sent me a video on TikTok
Uh-huh.
where this video is claiming if your eyes are higher on your face than your ears, you're basically a psychopath.
Yeah. There's been
And
a commonality, right?
yeah, so it looks like people screenshotted, photos of Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and they all kind of have that same trait.
Hmm.
So you sent this video to me, and I guess I haven't talked to you about it, but I actually did some research to find out where this claim all came from.
Okay.
And it came from a Chicago Tribune article back in '89. called The Chemistry Killer. It was a small study that was on repeat violent offenders with birth defects.
Okay.
And the number one abnormality on that list, that article that came out in '89, was, the low set ear theory.
Mm.
So I don't know if there's any truth to it or not.
Well, on a different note, man, but kind of the same. So I'm looking at the person who is about the subject that we were
Uh-huh.
talking about earlier,
Yeah.
Morgan Geyser.
Oh.
Okay. So basically 3 hours ago, now almost 4 hours ago, it was reported that Morgan Geyser, who was one of two girls, a duo that were involved in the Slender Man stabbing. You remember this?
That is
So
one of the cases, yeah, that is cemented in my brain. Unforgettable.
right. So back in 2014, for those that don't know, back in 2014, these two girls who were best, so it was a group of three girls: Morgan Geyser, Anissa Wire, and Peyton Lautner. So they were best friends, at least they claimed to be, right? But somewhere along the lines, the two girls, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire, ended up coming across the Slender Man posts on Creepypasta, right? And so these two girls had got it into their head that they were going to lure out and kill their friend Peyton as like an offering to Slender Man so that they could go and live in his world,
I think we
right?
talked about it a little bit on another episode. I think it was
We
called
did.
Wonderland.
Yeah, we did. And so that's what they ended up doing, right? So they ended up having this like sleepover. During the sleepover, they ended up like sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night and they lured Peyton out into the middle of the woods. They stabbed her 19 times. 19 times, and they left her for dead. Right? And dude, that's insane. But this girl, man, she's amazing. She survived and was able to get to a point to where, I mean, again, she was out in the woods, out in the middle of nowhere, and she was able to get to a point where there was just a random guy who was riding his bike in the woods, and he found her. She was still alive, man. He was able to, call the authorities. They came, rushed her to the hospital. They were able to save her life, and she was able to tell this bike rider that it was her two friends that did it, right? So
Hmm.
that next day, there was a huge manhunt for these two little girls. They ended up finding them. I believe it was 10 miles away from the actual town that they were from, and they were actually walking down like the side of the highway.
Nuts.
So yeah, they caught them. Obviously, they were both 12 years old, so they tried them as adolescents. Well, the main orchestrator between the duo, right, of these stabbers, the one that actually did the planning, did most of it, the girl's name was Morgan Geyser. As of 4 hours ago now, has escaped custody. So apparently she's now 23 and she was living in like a group home where she was wearing an ankle monitor.
Hmm.
And so apparently she cut the ankle monitor off and she escaped the facility, the group home. So as of right now, they don't know where she is. And
Bro.
I'm just afraid for their victim,
Yeah, Peyton.
right? For Peyton Leutner. Like, I'm afraid for her. I couldn't even imagine what's going on through her head right now. Right? Like, dude, she's got to be freaking the hell out right now.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking up. It looks like she released a statement that she's with her family, she's
Mm-hmm.
safe, and she's cooperating with law enforcement for her protection, and she's grateful for all the public support. But
Yeah.
yeah, it makes me think like, was it, Morgan just fed up with, being behind bars over a decade and just being like, you know what, I'm just gonna run away and just figure shit out? Was she talking to somebody online that, maybe, she's gonna meet up with? Or like you said, maybe, she is gonna go after her victim, maybe she's built up resentment over the years.
Yeah, maybe she's still trying to make good on that whole Slender Man thing. Maybe she's trying to go be with Slender Man. We don't know. Only time will tell, man. Hopefully
That
they can
is
apprehend her. Hopefully, local law enforcement can apprehend her without incident, and they can get her back into custody, and everything will be right in the world again. At least until the next fucked up thing happens. But I just think it's really scary, man. The fact that she was in custody, right? Like, it just goes to make you think, right? Are these people, even if they're young? I think the problem is that a lot of people make the mistake that there's like, oh, but they're young though. They were young when they did their crime, right? They were young when they did their crime. They should. They didn't know what they were doing, right? They were too young to know what they were doing, the severity of what they were doing, and I don't agree with that at all. Like, I'm sorry, she was 12 years old, man. It's not like she was 5, right? They were 12 years old. They were old enough to know right from wrong. And it's just kind of scary.
well, I definitely agree that they should be punished, for what
Uh-huh.
they did. Wasn't like it was an accident. It was premeditated. They planned it all out.
Uh-huh. Oh.
What would you say?
I mean, I thought it was until 18, right? Is when they're normally supposed to like be let out, but that I believe that's pending a hearing, right? That's pending like the
Evaluation and
results of
stuff,
their
probably.
their evaluation, finding out how well they were rehabilitated, and if they weren't rehabilitated well, obviously there's a reason why this girl was still in custody, right? So obviously it must not have taken, and I don't know, man. Oh, so getting back to the point though,
Where's her
you know,
ears at?
yeah. So we were talking about we were talking about the whole eye ear thing, dude. And
Oh no,
I'm looking at this picture of her, dude. Her ears are below her eyes.
bro, she's a defect.
Yeah,
She's a
dude, the
defect,
same.
bro.
Like, bro, this is insane. This has me wanting to like Google a bunch of past serial killers and just looking to see if their eyes are sitting like above their ears. It's so weird, but yeah, she is another one. Her eyes are above her ears. It's so weird. This might be something that the FBI may want to look into, right? And like actually include it in their profiling.
There is something I'm reading. It's saying there was a recent study when it comes to debunking this ear theory.
Mm-hmm.
In 2011, it's called the Cornell experiment,
Okay.
and it has basically a 48% accuracy. So I mean, it's a 50-50.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at the other girl too. The other girl that was involved in the stabbing.
What
Same
she
thing.
is.
Some same thing, man.
I wonder what the other girl's thinking. She was definitely like a follower. She was kind of
Yeah.
going with the flow. She kind of got caught up, like, but I mean, at the same time, she was still there, so she's just as guilty. But
Right.
I wonder if there's any bad blood between those two. I wonder if
I don't know, man. Yeah, Morgan Geyser was definitely the dominant personality in
yeah,
that duo. Still though, man. I mean, come on. She she stabbed her friend along with this girl. You know?
definitely.
I don't know. Like I said, hopefully they can get her back into custody real fast and that it can be without incident.
Yeah, and if she was getting ready to get out, those chances are probably out the window now. So
Oh yeah,
good
definitely,
job
man.
fucking that up.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
Sometimes, sometimes you just want to get a chili cheeseburger or
Ooh,
whatever it is. that you've been deprived of for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think what is something that would make me want to escape. Of course, it's food, right? It has to be food because I'm fat.
So you had sent me another video that was talking about, disasters that happen on horror movie sets.
Hmm.
And I remember growing up, you know, people who listen to prior episodes, my mom was the driving force when it came to me watching horror movies, and she used to like challenge me with, "Oh, okay, this doesn't scare you? Try watching this, try watching this, try watching this." And I remember one of the things that she had mentioned to me was with the Poltergeist,
Hmm.
about all the crazy stuff that happened on that. And I remember just being a kid and being freaked out because this movie is real deal because, so much bad stuff happened on it. So I have some of the notes from that movie pulled up, but then I have a few other movies because that video you sent me was talking about the Omen, and then there was a bunch of crazy stuff that happened in the Exorcist, amongst others. But I figured
Yeah.
I would share those three with you right now.
Okay.
So in the Poltergeist post release, it looks like Dominic Dunn, which played Dana in the movie.
Yeah, Dominique. Yeah.
Yes, she was strangled by her ex-boyfriend just months after the premiere.
Hmm.
Then there was Heather O'Rourke. She played Carol, and I guess she died. That's the little girl, right?
Yeah,
She
Carol Ann.
died. Yeah, she died at 12 from a misdiagnosed bowel obstruction during the Poltergeist 3 while filming.
Oh.
And then there was Will Sampson, the
Mm.
medicine man. He passed away from organ failure shortly after blessing the set. And then there was just a bunch of other mishaps that happened during it. One thing that happened, there was a crew member that was impaled by a screwdriver,
Whoa.
and there was a hurricane that ripped through the entire set.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
So, do you remember any of this stuff growing up with the Poltergeist, like hearing
I
things?
do.
Or
I do. I remember. I do remember hearing that Heather O'Rourke had died, and it messed me up because I was a little kid when this came out, right? I was a
yeah,
real, real little kid. So like, just knowing that the the main character, Carol Ann, the one who made it out, right? She made it through all these scary situations, but in real life, she ended up dying because of like a bowel obstruction. Like, what the hell, dude? And then just hearing all these crazy things. Like, I did know about Dominique being killed by her boyfriend. I knew about that. And then I did hear about the medicine man, about him passing away. I thought it was through like some type of stomach cancer, but you said that organ failure. I do remember them talking about how they used actual corpses in specific scenes, namely the scene with the pool. There's a scene where the mother ends up falling into the pool, and then there's like the bodies that they basically were unearthed during this like horrible storm, and then that's when you find out that the homes in the neighborhood that they moved into were built over a burial ground, and they moved the headstones but they never moved the bodies, and so they used actual cadavers, actual skeletons in that scene because they said it was cheaper for them to get actual cadavers than it was to manufacture, like to pay some FX people to make the stuff. So how messed up is that, dude? That they used the remains of somebody's loved ones.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. During the pool
obviously,
scene, like, can you imagine just being an actor and them being like, "Okay, you're gonna shoot this scene, and oh, by the way, these are real human skeletons." You know what I mean?
yeah,
I would be like, "Fuck no, bro. I don't give a no."
yeah, I'm out. Call my agent. Somebody call
And
my
then
agent.
the fact that they're like, "It's cheaper." That was their response.
Right. Call SAG-AFTRA. I'm out of here. Call the union. I'm not
Yeah, so
doing it.
I remember growing up and my mom telling me all that crazy stuff, and yeah, when you're watching it and you're like, that that little girl passed away and all this other weird stuff happened around it, you're like, this movie's like cursed. Like, what if I watch it and I become cursed, you know? So, next on the list is The Exorcist. Okay.
Mm.
Which everyone, but maybe there's some people who don't know. Okay, so The Exorcist, 1973, there was a bunch of crazy tragedies happened during, the filming of this.
Hmm.
Um, so in my notes, I have, unexplained, light bulbs exploding. I guess there was a fire that erupted in the bedroom,
Yeah.
destroying everything, except for, like a corner of Reagan's room where she was at. And they were saying that it's still undetermined why the fire even started. They're saying that there was no open flames, no electrical faults, so
Mm.
that's still a mystery. And then then there's a bunch of tragedies also piled up on this one. So it looks like the actor Jack McGraw died of a pneumonia days after wrapping it up.
Oh wow.
Then there is effects artist Jose Delgado was crushed by a malfunctioning machinery. Director William Frederickkin, he actually called in a priest during mid shoot to bless the set because there was just so much botched stuff and injuries. Um, but yeah, there was just like tons of weird stuff. I think I remember my mom telling me too, like, oh yeah, everything on that set was haunted. People were like getting hurt and dying, and it was just nuts.
And then she was just like, enjoy watching it, 5-year-old little Michael.
Dude, that is the one movie that I don't. Well, I'm sure there's other movies, but that is one of them that I don't think I will allow my daughter to see. She would have to go out and watch it on her own
Uh
if
huh.
she's older. Bro, I cannot believe that we were allowed to watch The Exorcist back in the day.
I honestly, I didn't see it until I was an adult because my mother told me horror stories about it. Like she went to go see it in the theater when she
Uh
was a
huh.
teenager, you know. So, and she said it scared the crap out of her. So,
There was like
I
people like, were there people throwing up and walking out and fainting in the middle of the movie
yeah, like in one, I know in one incident they said that a guy died. A guy actually
from
died of a heart attack. You know, like I don't know if it was embellished, if they were just trying to say that these things happened in order to drum up publicity and stuff like that. But yeah, bro, it's pretty scary because it makes you think like, is this just a psychosomatic thing where people were just thinking about it so much that they ended up freaking themselves out and then making things happen to themselves, or was this an incident where there were actual dark forces that did not want the subject matter of this movie to come out, and that they
yeah,
were doing pulling out all the stops, and trying to keep people from seeing it, you know.
yeah. And
Uh,
then the one that triggered, me to kind of look up a short list to share with you guys from that video you sent me.
mhm.
The Omen 1976, which was also released June 6th, 1976, which is a crazy day to pick, but I guess during the production of that movie, they were saying the cast and crew, I think their plane was hit like over like 3 times.
What?
Yeah, and then there was a plane carrying lines for the scene crash, killing all on board. And
Oh,
then there was a zookeeper that was mauled by. See, in the video you sent me, that says they were mauled by a lion, but in
uh,
this online article says they were mauled by a leopard, so I guess a big cat.
right. So still a big jungle cat.
Yeah. And then special effects guru John Richardson,
Hmm.
he ended up crashing his car on Friday the 13th, go figure,
Hmm.
coming back from a pub called the Black Cat, and his assistant Sue Moore was actually decapitated,
Oh,
and it
gee,
was mirroring the film's same grotesque scene where there was a beheading in there. So then I guess he ended up telling the police later on, saying that's the end of the Omen,
that's
which is
nuts.
weird. Yeah, so there was like weird things with that too. There was a lot more, yeah. Like you said, we could do a whole episode on it. There's
Mhm.
the Amityville Horror, The Conjuring, Annabelle, Twilight Zone. There's tons of horror movies that just kind of had weird stuff happening on set.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have
Which
to do that.
which I remember seeing somebody or hearing somebody talking about it, and it kind of always worries me sometimes because I remember hearing somebody talk about, you know, if you kind of like watch a lot of scary things or think about bad things, you're kind of just like inviting that negative into your life, you know?
Hmm.
So I wonder if it's kind of like the same concept. Like, you're building a movie based on evil. You're kind of inviting that presence there with you on the set. You're like almost knocking on the devil's door, you know?
Right.
So
Uh, yeah, we might want to think about that if ever we're in a position to make a horror movie. We
yeah,
might
we'll
just want we might just want to stick to the slashers and monsters and stay away from the demonic stuff.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's all about what you put into it, the type of energy you have on set and everything like that. But it
Right.
definitely makes you think, with all of these, movies and these instances that like, is there some truth to it or is it all just coincidence? You know?
Hmm.
Well, this is the part where I'm gonna put a shameless plug. Just a quick reminder, the Scary Vibes podcast is a part of a horror community that I built 5 years ago on our Facebook group, the Scary Vibes group. It's a great community. If you ever want to share short stories, you want to talk about horror movies, give recommendations, or see, what other people are recommending or talking about. So I want to personally invite all the listeners to come check it out.
Absolutely, man. It's a great community filled with great people, very talented people. Also, it's just a lot of fun, man. We have a lot of fun over there. Definitely take the time to check it out if you have not yet.
Well, I think that's going to be an episode. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
And my name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. We'll catch you next time, guys.